Sorry if there's been a little bit of craziness around me getting this video. Sometimes I forget how I need to flip my camera. Thank you for showing up and participating. Today, I'm going to talk about going there. That's right, we're going to talk about going there. Let me just get my camera down a little bit. So I have notes here because I don't want to forget some of the things that I felt like that I heard when I was thinking about this and processing it in my own mind. And here's the thing. We have all had a time when we have said, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to think about that. Now, usually when we say, I'm not going to go there, it's because it's some negative place. It's some horrible thought that we've had. It's some failure that we're afraid of having. And so we say, I'm not going to go there. But down in the chat, if you have ever said that to yourself, I'm just not going to go there. You start a new business and somebody says, what if this happens? And you say, oh, I'm not even going to go there. You're doing something new and somebody says, well, what if this happens? Oh, I'm not even going to go there. And sometimes that's a good thing, because if you're around that person that is constantly negative, you don't need to go there. You don't need to go there with them. They're going to go there by themselves. They're going to have a party. They're going to wallow around in it. They're going to do all of those things. But let's talk about this just for a second. You know that me, of all people, I do not believe that you need to constantly be focusing on the negative. I talk a lot about using your imagination for good and not for evil. You use your imagination to see the future you want to have, not to get caught up in all of these horrible, horrible imaginings, because our future is just that. It's just our imagination. We don't know the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. I assume in the next 5 minutes, I'm still going to be sitting here and I'm going to be talking to you, but I don't know that for sure. So it's all in my imagination, what might happen in the next 5 minutes, right? So I tell people, you should always have that positive imagination out there, that positive future, because that draws you in a positive way to it, instead of using your imagination for evil, is what I call it, to have all those evil surmisings, all those thoughts of all the horrible, evil, awful, black things that could happen to you, right? But I want you to think about something. Most people have something in their life that they've spent their whole life saying, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there. And besides the negative things, I think I need you to think about that you started saying, I'm not even going to go there with your dreams. Is that true? Is that you, or is it just me that started doing that? I was reaching my dreams. I was living what I thought was my dream that I'd had since I was 5 years old. And I couldn't imagine not living that dream. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm a nurse practitioner and I'm a functional medicine provider, and I have recently become a transformation coach. And when I was in that place, I had a dream of being a medical provider my whole life and having a ministry and working with people. And for 5 years, I had both of those in the same building, where I was providing medical care, and my husband and I had a ministry to at-risk families. And I thought I was living the dream. And I could not, when my body started giving out, and that's what happened, my body started giving out under the stress of it. And when that started happening, I just doubled down my resolve to do more and do better, and let's try a new thing, and let's get this in the office, and let's reach out to these people. I couldn't even go there. I couldn't even think about if my dream was not going to last. I couldn't even think about if my dream was not going to last, because this was my lifelong dream. I finally had a private office. I could finally care for people the way that I wanted to care for people. Have you had that lifelong dream that it's right there? It's like, this is what I've always dreamed of, but there's something missing, and maybe part of it is killing you, or it's not going the way you thought it would, but you can't imagine it not being there. And you're not going to go there. I can't go there. And so every time I would start to think, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life, I couldn't go there because it didn't make sense for me. It did not make sense that I had spent all of this time, my whole journey, my whole path through so many colleges and having all these different learning experiences and different jobs that finally brought me to become a nurse practitioner. And then I wasn't going to be a nurse practitioner in a private practice caring for people for the rest of my life. I couldn't go there. I couldn't go there. Here's what happened though. Your mind is operating out of one of two places all the time. And you've heard me talk about this. If you've not heard me talk about this, go to, I think it is my very first Healing Streams Unplugged. And I talk about your reptilian brain and your thinking brain. So our amygdala, which is located here in the back, like around our brain stem in the bottom of our brain, that is our fight, flight, or freeze area. And when a thought gets stuck in there and it does this, all you can think of doing is fight, fly, or freeze. That's all there is. You have three choices. You're going to fight your way out. Are you going to run like Hades out of there? Or are you going to just be frozen and not be able to make any decisions? Have you been there? Have you felt like in one of those places, like everything feels like it's a fight, or you feel like you have to run away from everything, or you're just frozen and can't make any decisions? That means you're in your amygdala, you're in your reptilian brain, okay? So what your brain has to do, that thought has to get past that into your frontal lobe, because here is your imagination, here is your creativity, here is your problem solving. So stay with me here, because I know I'm talking some science and this may get complicated for some people, but I'm trying to help you see what your brain is doing, okay? When we will allow ourselves to go there, right? And we say, okay, I'm going to think about this negative thing that could possibly happen. I'm going to think about this thing. And I'm going to allow myself to calm down. I'm going to control my breathing. And I'm going to say, this is a possibility. How am I going to deal with it? Then your brain can start working, your mind can start working on a solution to the problem. Now, you may think that your brain doesn't do that, because you may think, okay, this may happen, what am I going to do? But nothing comes to you, right? Let me give you this example. That part of your brain starts working on a solution, but it doesn't stop because you shift your focus to somewhere else. It goes down into your subconscious, okay? That's why, here's an example. I know that you have done this. You start to say something and it goes boop, completely out of your mind. Completely out of your mind, and you're like, wait, it's there. I know it's there. I know it's there. When you do that, I want to imagine yourself through a filing system. You're in that drawer. Where's the file? Where's the file? Where's the file? And sometimes after 2 or 3 seconds, your brain goes, there's the file. As I was saying, and you go on with it. But sometimes you're like, where's the file? Where's the file? Where's the file? And then you go, it's not in here. It's not in here. So here's where the subconscious comes in. Think of the subconscious as your secretary that you call and you say, hey, I think we have this file stored here, here, here. Will you go get that file for me? And then you go on. So when your brain does that, you have stopped in the conversation and said, oh, never mind. And you start with something totally, something totally different. Then maybe during that conversation, or maybe in the middle of the night or the next day, your little secretary from the subconscious brings it back up to your frontal lobe and says, boop, here's your file. And you go, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. You've all done it. That is what your brain is doing. So when you let yourself go there to that place and just calm down, bring it to your frontal lobe and say, what would I do in this situation? Your brain, your creativity, that part that can come up with amazing solutions will start working. And I want to tell you this. Your brain, the one inside of your head, is just as amazing as Aristotle, as Da Vinci, as Edison, as, Abraham Lincoln and Einstein and all these great leaders and Elon Musk and all these genius people that you think about. Their brain's not any different. They're just staying in their frontal lobe longer. They're just staying in their creativity longer. They're just staying out of their fear. I'm going to fight. I'm going to run. I'm going to freeze. They're just staying out of that longer so they have more time. They have more time to create a desired outcome. Okay, so that's how your brain works. So now, the next step that I want you to do is when you say, I'm going to go there and I'm going to see myself crushing it. I'm going to see myself overcoming that problem. I'm going to see myself conquering that fear. I'm going to see myself battling through, even if it's sorrow or pain, whatever it is, if I have to face it, I'm going to overcome it. All right? And then when you add that, the creativity just goes to another level. So that's how we deal with those, I'm not even going to go there. But I need you to go there with your dreams. I need you to go there with the things that you've tried but haven't worked out yet, because you know what has happened? That dream got caught back here by your little reptile monster, your little fear monster back here. It got caught. And that little fear monster gives you three choices. You better run away. You better fight with everybody. You're never going to be able to do anything because you're going to have to fight for the rest of your life. Or freeze, play dead, don't do anything. None of those things. Those are all for survival. Do you feel like you're surviving? Do you feel like that's what it is? You're just there, but you're not thriving in life? Maybe you keep getting knocked down and you bounce back up, but then you don't go past a certain level. Use your imagination for good, not for evil. Okay? So go there. Go there in your dream. Go there in that vision that you want to be. And allow your brain, and go there and make it really vivid, even if you don't know how to get there. Even if it seems too big, make it really vivid. See yourself living that life. See the house you're living in, and the car you're driving, and the people that you're with, and the experiences you get to have, and how you feel, and how you look, and see all of that in your mind. Your creativity will start getting to work on how to get you there. And then you will recognize the opportunities that will connect you to that place when they come. Because fear, fight, flight, and run, or fight, flight, and freeze, they don't connect you to anything but fear. And we're staying in that place when we are not in any danger of our lives. And that's the only reason we're supposed to be in that place. And we're staying in there and trying to function. And you wonder why you can't sleep. Well, you can't sleep because there is no sleep in fight, flight, or freeze. Because you sleep, you die. There is no fun. You wonder why you can't have fun anymore, because you are not in the creative part of your brain where there's joy and laughter. You are in the I'm about to die place. So I've gone a little longer on that than I thought I was going to. Here's the thing I want you to remember. When you start going there and you learn to feel comfortable with that uncomfortable feeling of, I can't go there, you get comfortable. And it's really simple. Take a few breaths. Stop. Take a few breaths. Just in and out. Do this with me. In and out. Even after 2 breaths, you can feel the weight. So just that simple thing will shift it to here. And if you start feeling anxious again, take a few more breaths. So when we get comfortable with that uncomfortable feeling and we can shift it up to the frontal lobe, we shift our focus to creativity. That is when solutions will come. That is when your solutions will come. Okay, I'm going to go over my notes to make sure I'm not missing everything. Thank you for being patient. So I think I've gone over everything I wanted to share. I want us to do an exercise together. I want you to go there. I want you to go there in that fear place. Okay? I want you to go there in that thing that you're afraid of. Like, I can't even imagine losing my job. I can't even imagine losing my child. I can't even imagine doing that. I want you to go there. I do. I want you to go there for a few minutes, settle yourself and breathe. And I want you to think past what is the immediate fear. And think about what is it that's underlying that. Because when I did that and I thought about some of the things, here's the things that came. I had a fear of not being able to handle that thing. I had a fear that instead of crushing it, it was going to crush me. I had a fear that I would be left totally alone. And when we can get to those fears, that's when we can go back into our identity. That's when we can listen to the voice of love. That's when we can figure out that there's nothing that we cannot handle. I'm not saying things might not be hard or painful or sorrowful, but there's nothing you can't handle. You hear me? There's nothing you can't handle. All right. Now, take some time for those of you that are watching this again and just sit in that space and then let it go. Because now we're going to go to that place of dreams. We're going to go to that place, and I want you to not get caught. I want you to think of that big dream, and I want you to not get caught in that fear monster that's in the back of your head. Let it come here. Let that vivid vision, that compelling future show up. Now, I want you to think about, not just feel, think about, why are you not headed in that direction? What is stopping you from heading in that direction? Because there's some fear that's stopping you. I want you to think about that. And I will share with you the fears that were stopping me. Fears that were stopping me were fears that I'm just going to fail. I'm going to try for this thing and I'm just going to fail. Now, I've been a pretty successful person in my life. I've achieved a lot of things that some people think is amazing, or feel like they can't ever do. But there's always been a fear of failure in me. And then there was a fear of, I'm not enough. Okay? So you start with that fear of, I'm not enough. I can't accomplish this dream because I'm not enough, and therefore I'm going to fail. That I'm not enough thing is an identity issue. And when I start feeling that, and I dig deep down into what love said I was, and go back into the core of my identity, then I realize there's no failure because I'm not competing with anyone. I have a YouTube channel, but I'm not competing with anyone on YouTube, because you see this? See that? Let's see, will it focus on it? No, that's a finger. On the tip of that finger is my fingerprint. And none of you have it. None of you can. No, none of you ever will. Nobody ever has. I'm special. And so are you. You are uniquely made of all the people that ever have and ever will exist on the earth. You don't have to compete. Even if people say the same thing that I'm saying, the exact same message, it's not going to have the impact on some people that it would coming from me, because those people belong to me, and vice versa. I can say the same thing that somebody else says, but it's not going to be as impactful because it's their message coming from them and their anointing and their gifting, their spirit and their energy behind it. So I learned I don't have to compete. Therefore, there's no failure because I'm not competing with everybody. It's all just a journey. And how do I measure success anyway? All right. Thank you guys so much for being with me. It is such an honor and privilege to sit down and talk to you and share my heart and share this journey, and hopefully be sharing your journey as well. Well, I am super, super close to being able to release my transformation program. I'm putting on the final touches, trying to get my website up and running. And you guys can say a little prayer that I will find the technology person that I need, because that's not my biggest gift. I can figure it out after enough YouTube videos that I watch, but it's not my biggest gift. So I need that person to come along, but I'm almost there. Thank you for following in that journey with me. And I will let you know as soon as that is available. I will let you know as soon as my website is up. And I just want to take a minute to challenge you to go there. Go there. You're enough to handle it. Your solutions are there. Your solutions to your problems and your solutions to your dreams are there. Go find them. Thank you for watching. If you've gotten any blessing out of this, please like and subscribe and click the notification bell so you will be the first to know when I go live again. Please let me know in the comments, what is your there? What is your fear? What is your dream? Share it with us. Let's go there together.